You're listening to the Live Free podcast. I'm your host, Christine, certified life coach, pain to power mentor, and creator of Embody You Mindset Mastery School. I'm here today to discuss living life after disease, disaster, or adversity, to discuss living life fully once again, a life of hope, peace, and resiliency, a life fully embodied. I utilize the lessons that I learned going through not one, but two primary cancers. I'm here today to guide you to the life of your dreams, turn your pain into power, and lead you back to yourself. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Live Free podcast. Today, I want to get a little bit more specific for the listeners, the cancer survivors that are listening to my podcast. So I want to talk today a little bit about fear in remission. But before I do that, a lot of you ask, why is it that not every episode is specific about cancer? And why are we not talking all the time in specific about survivorship? And the reason why is because the problems that we face in survivorship tend to be the problems that everyone faces in life. Except for there is a deepening of the difficulty, the confusion, maybe a deepening of the loss of where am I and where do I fit. And so I tried to create episodes that give you a sense of normalcy and give you a feeling of belonging in the world that is, because you're part of it. The great news is that you're part of it still. Something that at one point you may not have believed. And so that is why not every episode mentions cancer. Because I want to give you a sense of normalcy. And have all the problems just like all of us, whether we are or are not survivors. So let's dive into today's subject matter. Today I'm talking about why is it that we finish cancer treatments, we finish everything that we've gone through, we're in the best place of our lives, but we're unhappy. What is that emotion? And why is it so common? Because let me tell you, my friend, it is common. There are so many people who have gone through cancer and expected to be so happy on the other side, myself included, that just aren't. I remember the day that I got to ring the bell. The day that I got to go up to that bell in the radiation section of the cancer center, and I got to have it announced that I'm finished my treatments, and I got to ring that bell. And I remember feeling excited, but terrified. And now people had warned me about this. I had heard from other survivors that this may happen. But truth be told, I kind of didn't believe them. I had this kind of idea that, well, that's for people that aren't self-aware, but I'm self-aware, so I'm going to be excited. And so I get there and I ring that bell, and it's supposed to be the best day of my life. And the moment that I ring it, I realize that I don't know who I am. I don't know who I am without cancer. I don't know who I am in this new world. In this new world of medications and continued appointments. This feeling of like, I'm done, but I'm not done. This feeling of my friends and family wanting me to go out and celebrate with them, but I'm too damn exhausted and tired to be interested. All of these feelings of loss, upset, concern for who I am and who I'm going to be. Dread, truly, was the emotion that I felt. And then to top it all off, this fear of recurrence. This fear of it coming back before it was even really truly gone. The day that I rang the bell, the day that they said it was gone, was the day that I started dreading it returning. So if you are in this place, please do not feel unique. Do not feel that you are all alone in this. Do not feel lonely in this emotion, because you are not alone. All of us feel this. And what it really equates to is that we as human beings, we dislike change. And there's a whole scientific reason for this. We dislike change because our subconscious mind, the conscious part of our brain that we are unaware of, the one that runs our breathing and our digestion and our programs that tell us where to go and what to do and how to speak and what language we speak and where we're from. That part of the brain. It is always trying to keep us safe because it's all it knows. So what do I mean by that? I mean that we, no matter what the change is, do not know, the subconscious does not know whether or not that will pan out for us because it's never experienced it before. So when there is a change from our comfort, which the subconscious loves comfort. When there is a change, then our subconscious rejects it because it's something that it doesn't understand. So we run from that change, whether it's good or bad. Now, when you were diagnosed, it was understandable that you ran from that change, so it didn't feel weird or shameful. Because who would want a cancer diagnosis? Of course, that's unsafe. Even your conscious mind knew that. And so you ran away from the change. Emotionally, you hated the idea. You wanted nothing to do with it. And of course you didn't. What followed was a sea of pain and discomfort. So understand that that's okay, that you disliked that change. But then something else happened. You became and identified, your subconscious settled into the fact that you are fighting cancer, that you are a cancer fighter, that you are trying to get well. And so your subconscious adopted that as the new way of being. So I understand now that this is how I live. I fight cancer. I am trying to get well. So then that became the new safe. Do you see where I'm going with this? So then you understand this is who I am. But then it's done. Then the cancer is gone and your subconscious has a new enemy. It's not being a fighter anymore. It's going into a new version of yourself that it doesn't understand. Going into a new version of life that it does not know anything about. So it doesn't want it. And it feels unsafe. And so we run. But this time, something happens that makes it worse. And what that is judgment. That is when judgment comes in and says, how dare I feel unhappy about this? When, so-and-so and this person, they didn't lose their life. Or they did lose their life. Or they lost something. They had, something amputated and I didn't have to. How dare I feel upset when I'm alive? And so we give ourselves no grace. And so when you're giving yourself no grace, it just perpetuates this bad feeling that is literally only coming up from the fact that your subconscious does not feel safe. It doesn't know who this new person is going to be or what that looks like. So then the judgment comes in and amplifies it. How many times in your life does judgment help you? How many times did hating your body help you lose weight? How many times did being mad at yourself for not being smart enough help you do better in school? You see, the judgment of the fact that you are in a poor place, that you are in an emotionally unwell place when you want to be in a really good place because your cancer is gone, that judgment is making it worse. So cut yourself some slack, my friend. It is not easy transitioning from having cancer, not having cancer, to having cancer, to fighting cancer for a year, and then to just poof, it's gone. Or so they say. But no one will really say that it's fully gone because no one's prepared to say that in case they miss something. Like, what a mind fuck. It's like you want to move on with your life, but it feels like you're being pulled into 1,000 directions. Like, am I hitting a nerve with you? I'm sure I am. How does that feel when you're just, you want to move on, but you don't know that you can, and you're in this place of judgment? I've been there. I've been there so many times. I am with you on this. I am your equal. I did not escape it, and you will not escape it. It's part of being in remission. And so that's why there is entire groups, supportive groups for this. That's why there is entire books written about this, because it is not the end of your cancer treatment. It is the second stage. The second stage where the medications come in, the second stage where the fear of recurrence comes in, the second stage where all of the maintenance treatments come in, and maybe you've changed your diet or you're thinking about it. All of that stuff, it is the second stage. So cut yourself some slack, because rather than being at the end of a journey, you're at the beginning of a new journey. And let me promise you that it is a good journey. And so I'm only some of the way in. But so far, there has been times where I have felt on top of the world, and there has been times where I don't feel on top of the world. And both of them can exist, and both of them have taught me so much about who I am. And I have grown so much as a person, and I feel so much more empowered. And every day changes. It's all been worth it. Like, there are days that I'm so glad that this happened to me. I know that sounds wild, but you just, everything deepens. Your appreciation for life, maybe not right now, but your appreciation for life becomes unabounding. It becomes absolutely bottomless. And that is so exciting. Your ability to love becomes so much deeper. You love so much more because you realize that time is finite. Your fear of what people think diminishes. There's so many blessings past cancer treatment. It just takes time to come to them. Time, grace, compassion, and probably some rest. Because girl, you deserve it. So cut yourself some slack. Allow that in. All of these good things are going to come. Days, weeks, months. Time will pass and they'll all show up. All of it. All of the beautiful things that I'm talking about. As I'm going through this process of settling back into life, I'm seeing that there is going to be so much for me in this life. I'm so goddamn excited for everything. And yes, the fear of recurrence has not gone away from me yet. And I mean, I hope it goes away for you, but it has not gone away from me yet. But that's okay. Because there are ways to live with the fear of recurrence so that it's not the monster that is enveloping you, but rather a piece on your shelf of the many facets of who you are. And I teach that in my course. And I teach that in my content. And I'll continue to try to teach that to people because it's not a way to live, to constantly be living in fear of recurrence. But that's for a future episode, future day, okay? Because you have more than enough to deal with right now as you're transitioning in this new portion of life. So set that on a shelf. Right now, as far as the doctors can see, there's no cancer. And so I want you to settle in to this new version of you and to take as much time as it needs to look like, because you are different now, my friend. Your values, your beliefs, the things that matter, they've changed. And all of that is okay. And you get to be whoever you want to be in this new portion of life. And that's scary, but you'll get used to it. This new and empowering place where you are whoever the hell you want to be. You get to choose from like a menu at a restaurant. You know, I want this attribute and I want this attribute. And I've decided I no longer care about this. Because you face the Reaper, man. You did it. And so if you can't celebrate moving into remission quite yet, that's okay. Celebrate the fact that you faced the Reaper. And so far, you're still breathing. This very moment, you are alive. You are standing here, and you made it through. So all my love to you. You got this. Reach out anytime, and I'm here for you. Okay? Thank you so much for listening. If you found expansion with this last episode, then that means that others will too. And the best way to get the word out about the podcast is by leaving a review. I would be so grateful if you could leave me a review and let me know how you felt about the podcast. Included in the show notes will be everything that we talked about today, including all of my transformative programs. Change is just on the horizon, my friend.